What's up, ladies and gentlemen, Universal Mastery? Welcome back to my public YouTube channel. Now, what I do here is I break down the occult sciences, and I break them down to a very practical level so that you can simply use them and apply them in your day-to-day life and get real, actual results with what it is that I am teaching here on my channel. Now, I'm explaining this primarily if you're new to my channel because I know a lot of you are continuously revisiting my channel to get the value from it, okay? Now, once again, let me give you a little bit of a perspective of who I am, just in case you're new to my YouTube channel, because it's very important to know who you're getting your information from, okay? My name is Jeremiah Schwartz. I am a professional occultist. I am fully initiated in the entirety of the Kabbalistic tree. I'm studied when it comes to the 22 major arcana of the tarot deck. And I'm also studied when it comes to planetary energies in direct association with astrology. Okay? Now, what is the exact topic of our today's video? Well, this is going to be a little bit of a surprise for everyone who is a follower of my YouTube channel. And I will be explaining a little bit more in depth within this YouTube video. But the surprise is also going to fall directly along the lines of what the topic of our YouTube video is on this subject. So we are going to be talking about incense. Okay, we're going to be talking about incense sticks. How are they connected to the occult field? How important are they when it comes to getting results with your occult practices, with your spiritual practices, you name it? And just simply, how can you use incense? Okay, are incense that important? Can you use them? Does it matter what types of incense you're using in regards to the different types of scents, the different types of names for the incense? I mean, there's so much, there's so many different pathways that we could go down talking about this simple subject of incense. So within this video, primarily, I'm going to be discussing how I've personally used incense throughout my personal occult practices and how valuable it's been. And I'm also going to be interweaving within this video a little bit of a surprise that this is the first time that I've revealed it publicly. Okay, so if you want to stay tuned for the surprise, but most importantly, learn a little bit more about incense, then this is obviously your video, so definitely make sure you stay tuned. Okay, so first thing first, what I think is only right to do, and is actually something that I'm going to continuously incorporate within my YouTube videos, is going to be lighting an incense. So I have my lighter right here. You can see it, gray lighter. And I have this incense stick back here. And I'm going to simply light it. Now, whenever you light incense, you always want to have some sort of an intention that goes behind it. My intent is to just increase my power in all ways possible. Beautiful. Look at that. So we got the incense burning right there. You can kind of see the flame in the screen. I know it's a little blurry. We're going to blow it up. Wow. Beauty. Beauty, beauty. It smells amazing too. Okay, so that's actually leading into this video. So let's first start with the surprise, okay? I'm not somebody who really likes to wait on surprises, so I'm just going to come out the gate and give you a little bit of a surprise. So this incense stick that you just saw me light, this is a self-made incense stick. I've personally made this incense myself, and in this little container that I have that's sitting right there with the incense inside of it, there are about close to 40 incense that are ready to be used or ready to be sold, okay? Over in my kitchen, I have about 200 incense that are in the process of being formulated, okay? So what I'm saying is that I am creating my own individualized incense, and I've already sold about 100. Okay, so they've already sold out. The first batch has already sold out to primarily the Patreon members, because the Patreon members are always going to get that that benefit. Okay, they're obviously investing in my YouTube channel, investing in my content a little bit more than the average person. So whenever I'm going to be releasing new projects that I have, for example, like this incense project, which is going to be ongoing, it's always going to be brought up to my Patreon members first and foremost. Okay? Patreon is the first link in the YouTube description if you're interested. But so yeah, so as I was saying, I've created my own incense, and these incense are absolutely unique, meaning these are not your typical incense. These are not incense that you can buy at your local store, and these are not incense that you can even order online. Okay, let me explain why. So these incense sticks are bought. I buy them personally. I buy them through a special vendor that is on Amazon, and they are long-lasting incense sticks. Okay, so that means each incense stick, this one that I have right back here, is going to last 45 minutes to an hour long per stick. Okay, so that's way longer than your average incense stick. Okay, and not only that, but the stick, the incense stick itself is organic. Okay, it's an organic incense stick, and if you actually compare it to a regular incense, like if you go to your local store and you buy an incense stick, or if you make a purchase to get the incense sticks that I'm creating, and you compare them next to each other, you're gonna see my incense sticks are way bigger, and then not only are they bigger, but they look cleaner. Okay, you're actually gonna see it in the visual of the stick itself. Okay, so they're organic incense sticks. Now this is the really unique part. So when it comes to creating the scent that goes behind the incense, you use oils to do that. Okay, you typically are going to use different types of concentrate oils, and there are many different types of flavors, so to speak, or smells, so to speak, that you can incorporate into an incense stick. Now, what I've done, because I am an occultist, is I've strategically used two scents that, you know, I decided are going to be the primary scents that are going to formulate what I want to put in my incense sticks. Okay. Now, these two scents that I picked, as I said, they are strategically picked. They are creating an occult formula. Okay. So the first scent is a well-known scent within the occult field, which is dragon's blood. Okay. So I bought some dragon's blood oil. And the reason why I chose that scent is, one, in regards to my own personal evolutionary journey as I was diving into the occult field, I found that the most common incense stick that I was using and that I was drawn to use was dragon's blood. And there's a very profound reason to that. And it's because, obviously, within the name of that smell or that scent, we have the name dragon. So that carries not only a strategic and a specific smell that is very primal in nature, but it also carries a very profound archetypal energy, which is the dragon. Okay, so within that scent itself, we have dragon energy, which is linked directly to the serpent, which is literally associated with the tree of knowledge, the serpent that is on the tree of knowledge that takes you to the other side, whether that's the Qliphoth or the tunnels of Set, Universe B. Okay, so the serpent has that connection. It's associated with the darker side of evolutionary sciences and the deeper areas of your own unconscious and subconscious mind, and it's also linked into sexual energy. Okay, all within the serpent. So that's why I chose to use dragon's blood. Okay, that's the first scent that I did. Now, I mixed dragon's blood with another scent. Okay, this scent is not just your typical oil. This is going to be an essential oil. Okay, so typically when you get incense sticks, like whether they're just at your local market, your local store, smoke shop, you name it, you're not going to really find incense sticks that have essential oils that are a part of the stick itself, that are a part of the smell. So I picked a specific essential oil that is called Dream for two reasons. One, this type of essential oil helps you to further access those, as I said, deeper areas of the unconscious and the subconscious mind. It's a specific type of scent that can allow you to get deeper into, let's say, a meditative state or a state of silence. Okay? And then with the name itself, it's called Dream. Okay? Dream, the name, archetypically speaking, is going to be linked to the Kabbalistic sphere of Yesod. Okay? Now, this is very important to understand because on the Kabbalistic tree, Yesod acts as a doorway. Okay? So between Yesod and the 11th hidden sphere of Dath, this is going to be the primary two doorways to get yourself from Universe A into Universe B. Okay, so with that incense being linked into one, dragon's blood, the dragon energy, and then two, an essential oil that is called Dream links us into the sphere of Yesod, which also represents the moon because Yesod is ruled by the moon. It represents the unconscious and the subconscious. It represents feminine energy. And it's also associated with sexual energy. And anyone who understands the Kabbalistic tree and has done your research, you will know and you will see how Yesod is associated with sexual energy. So there are two very powerful links that are within this one incense stick that are creating a formula of basically, major occult significance. Okay, so we have the serpent energy representing sexual energy and primal energy, also linked to the other side of the Kabbalistic tree. And then we have Dream linking us into Yesod, the moon, also representing sexual energy and one of the doorways to the other side of the Kabbalistic tree. Okay, so that's the first occult formula that is placed within this incense stick, which is very powerful and very unique. Okay, now on top of that, at a base level, and I literally have some sticks that are soaking right now that are, as I said, in my kitchen. At a base level, as these incense sticks are soaking, I have them soaking in a pan that has crystals that are inside the base, that are in the pan, soaking with the incense stick. So I have a couple clear quartz crystals that are at the base, and I also have about, I want to say, 4 real citrine crystals. Okay, and these crystals carry real energetic properties, and since they are in the liquid with the incense sticks as they're soaking, it's literally electronically, energetically speaking, charging the incense sticks even further than just your typical incense. Okay, so once again, this is what's separating these sticks that I'm creating and that I have from your typical or average incense stick that you would typically get anywhere else. Okay, now here's the real caveat. Not only are they charging at a base level with quartz crystals, but I've also mixed into the liquid itself that they soak in, which is directly inside of the incense sticks themselves. I've mixed in monatomic gold. Okay, this is really what separates these incense sticks from almost anything that you've ever seen before. And quite frankly, I've done my own research on this topic to find out, is anyone else doing what I'm doing? Is there anybody else out here that's making monatomic gold incense sticks or essential organic incense sticks or occult formula incense sticks? And almost all these different categories, I didn't find anybody. Okay, but especially with the monatomic gold aspect, there's nobody. There was no search. Nobody came up whatsoever. And I did some research. So this is very unique to these types of incense sticks because they are literally at a base level soaked also with monatomic gold. Okay. And I put 11, what's the word? I'm forgetting the name of the thing that you put inside of the little bottle of monatomic gold and you squirt it out. It's, I'm forgetting the name of it now, but that's not the point. I put 11 squirts of this monatomic gold to link it into the 11th hidden sphere of the Kabbalistic tree to further the occult formula that is within these incense sticks. So they literally carry monatomic gold in the stick itself. Okay, it is a part of the liquid that soaks into the incense stick, which is extremely unique. But not only is it unique, most importantly, extremely powerful. Okay, this is probably one of the farthest ways you can take creating an energetically charged incense stick. Okay, and I'm telling you, having them lit myself, using them, and personally creating them myself, these are the most powerful incense that you could possibly get your hands on. Okay, and I'll leave it there. And that's literally what these incense sticks are. That's how I've created them. And some people may want to know, how did I come up with this? Or, why did I come up with this? I was literally at the mall and this idea came to me suddenly and randomly. And I've also been doing invocations of Marbos. And I know Marbos is typically associated with health, diseases, and different aspects of diseases and things in that nature. But as I've been working or invoking Marbos pretty consistently, somehow it accessed this level or layer within my unconscious and subconscious that is intrigued by this concept of creating these formulated incense that I have right here. Okay. So I do attribute, the invocations that I've been doing of Marbos to opening a certain level of my awareness that gave me this idea to start doing this. Okay. And I'm telling you, it came to me randomly. I was literally in the mall with my Scarlet Woman, and the idea came to me, and it was very clear. It was, you need to do this. And the day I got home from the mall, I started doing my research and I figured it all out. So that's it. So this is the surprise. I have around 200 incense that are in the process of being created. They will be finished in the next 2 to 3 days. I have about 40 that are already done here. I've already sold about close to 100. Okay, I have 40 right here. I'm going to use about 20 for myself, and then I'm going to sell off the other 20 for this batch. And yeah, if you want to get your hands on this. Okay, so as I said, first and foremost, I notified the Patreon members. Okay, the Patreon members know about these incense sticks before any of you listening to this if you're not a Patreon member. Okay, so they are the ones that are going to get their hands on the first batches of incense sticks. Actually, I timed this video perfectly because by the time this video becomes public, as you're listening to this, all the Patreon members are already aware that, they have their opportunity to get their incense sticks. Okay, this video is recorded. You're obviously listening to it now. I've recorded it. You're listening to it now. But the time frame that from the recording of this video right now to when it's actually going to be released to the public YouTube channel is typically going to be around a week or maybe a little bit more than a week. And that's typically how I do my YouTube videos. So, yeah, so this is a notification, we could call it, where if you would like to get your hands on what I call the EMF, electromagnetic frequency incense sticks, I like to call them EMF sticks or EMF incense sticks. You can also call them EMF Universe B incense sticks. If you would like to get your hands on these and you would like to make a purchase and have me ship them directly out to you, okay, what you can do is you can go into the YouTube description and then go down to the fourth link below. I literally have it labeled fourth right next to the fourth link. You can't miss it. That is where you can make your purchase for these extremely unique incense sticks that smell absolutely amazing. Once again, organic, mixed in with an occult formula, contains essential oils, monatomic gold, charged at a base level with quartz crystals. I mean, there's not much else that needs to be said. Each one lasting 45 minutes to an hour long. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. If you want to take advantage of this, fourth link in the YouTube description. This is the surprise. Go ahead and take advantage of it. Okay? So yeah, so that's that. So now let's move into the real breakdown of the importance of incense sticks. You know, why are incense sticks so important in regards to the occult field in general? Well, you know, here's the deal. When I started, and I'm going to share my own personal experience because that obviously matters, okay? Like, why would I not share my own personal experience, okay? I think you can gain a lot of value from it. When I first started in the occult field, like first started, I mean like literally started doing my first invocations and my first occult practices, things in that nature. Incense sticks were a staple for me. Okay, they represented to me something very secret. They represented something very spiritual and something very literally just occult. It made me feel like this was something very like energetic. Okay, I couldn't even explain why, but that's how it made me feel. And sure enough, I would always make sure when I was doing any sort of spiritual or occult operation, I would make sure I had my incense sticks. And as I said earlier, typically what I would go to is my dragon's blood, okay? Because there is a lot of power behind dragon's blood because of its archetypal link to the serpent, to the dragon. But obviously right now with what I've got back here, these are literally the most powerful incense sticks you could possibly get your hands on, hands down, okay? But back in the day when I didn't have these types of incense sticks, I would use dragon's blood primarily, okay? There's other ones that are very powerful as well and have different capabilities and things in that nature, but dragon's blood was my go-to. And it would always be very prominent for me to have those incense sticks. And, you know, looking back at when I was a beginner, when I was first starting my, you know, first practices, I mean, leading up to where I am now, I've reached a lot of success in the occult field. Okay. I've gone down certain certain initiatory pathways, so to speak, that a lot of people, one, never get the chance to experience and never get the chance to open up, so to speak. And two, if they do, a lot of people don't successfully make it through. And as I said, I have always used incense during my personal, you know, initiatory and occult journey. Okay. They were always prominent for me. There would be times where I would do certain types of invocations and I would light the incense, and all I would do is really just stare at the incense stick and watch the smoke. And there was something deep about that. There was something that was happening on a very subtle level that played a very big role in regards to me being able to access deeper areas of my unconscious and subconscious mind, which led me to, you know, having a more opened awareness in general. So incense sticks were always prominent and they were always very valuable for me personally throughout my entire occult journey. And I would highly recommend anyone use incense sticks no matter what kind of practice you're using. Now, let's go a little bit more into the science, or we could more so say the occult science as to why incense sticks can be so valuable and so important to use. Well, let's start with this. Let's start with the archetypal significance. Okay, so as I discussed earlier, whatever type of incense you're using, keep this in mind. Think about this. Think about all the other cultures, and I want you to really understand that incense are ancient. There has been many ancient cultures, civilizations that have utilized incense sticks for spiritual means, okay? So whenever you're using an incense stick, depending on what type of scent, depending on what type of archetype it carries, what type of archetypal energy it carries, you are tapping in to the power of every single civilization, every single culture, every single individual who has used that type of scent and that type of archetypal incense stick. Which means, for example, let's say you're using dragon's blood, okay? Great example because we've been talking about dragon's blood for so much of this video already. Well, think about right now how many other occultists are aware in our today's time, okay? How many other occultists are aware that dragon's blood is one of the most prominent and powerful incense sticks to use when you're dealing with demonic forces, okay? When you're dealing with the Ars Goetia, when you're dealing with dark energies, you name it. This is a common understanding within the occult field. A lot of occultists know that dragon's blood has some sort of energetic quality that is just amazing. It works so synergistically with darker energies, with more so unconscious and subconscious, we could even say negative energies, okay? Dark energies, dark entities, so to speak. So with that alone, with the fact that there's a lot of occultists in our today's time within the spiritual and occult community that are using this incense for those purposes, this carries an archetypal energy behind it because there are so many occultists that believe that dragon's blood has a significance to the demonic realm. Based on that alone, that creates an archetypal energetic link. Now, that's not the only factor that comes into play as to why dragon's blood is so powerful, but that is one factor as to why it is so powerful. Okay, that's from an archetypal perspective. Now, when we're getting a little bit more in depth, the actual scent of dragon's blood on a deep, we could say, frequency level, on an energetic level, has a certain type of resonance with darker energies, with the deeper areas of your unconscious and your subconscious. Okay, that's another aspect. And then we have another archetype. The other archetype that's embedded within dragon's blood is the fact that its name is dragon's blood. Whoever named this incense, I don't know where the roots go behind that, but the name of dragon's blood infers the dragon. And now this dragon, this word is an energy. This word is, you could even say, an entity that takes on many different forms, many different faces, and it's embedded within this scent that is then placed into a stick. Okay? So the dragon carries its own archetypal energy that's now embedded within the incense stick that is using dragon's blood. Okay, so that's another archetypal energy that's placed within this simple scent and incense stick. Okay, and these are all different factors that matter when you're deciding on what exactly incense stick am I going to be utilizing. This carries real energetic properties. Okay, so for example, if I was in a metaphysical shop, or if I was just searching online to buy an incense stick, if I took a look at an incense stick that said dragon's blood, and then I looked at another incense stick that said 7 chakra meditations, then my best choice in that moment as a as an occultist who's wanting to gain value from self inner exploration is definitely going to be for the dragon's blood because of all of its archetypal significance and its primal qualities. Now, does that mean that the 7 chakra incense isn't going to work to some degree? Well, at the end of the day, it's still an incense stick. It's still going to burn when you light it, and I'll talk about those properties in a second. But the archetype that's behind the 7 chakra incense sticks, what kind of archetype is that going to carry? It's going to carry the archetype, first and foremost, of the 7 chakras, which, as I've discussed on my YouTube channel, is not something you want to be concerned with, not something you want to be focused on. It works against you, okay? So that's a no-no. And then think about all the other types of people that are using that type of incense. They're going to be chakra workers, they're going to be light workers, and that's going to be a part of the archetype of that incense stick, which needs to come into play. Okay, now the scent itself very well may be a good scent that is within the 7 chakra incense. It may have some valuable properties there, but we want to really take into account all the other archetypal aspects that are a part of that stick when we're making our choice on what we're going to be using. Okay, so because once again, these all matter. Okay, so that was more so of an in-depth perspective on why different incense play different roles based on their archetypal significance. And as you saw, as I explained, there are different archetypes, like a couple different archetypal significances that come into a single incense pack. Okay, it's not just one archetype, there's a couple. Okay, all the way down to the smell, to the types of people that use it typically, to the name that's behind it, that's associated with it. Okay, now here's the next property about incense that is very important to understand. On a more so elemental level, we are definitely associating incense with the element of fire. Okay, why? Because to light an incense, you light it on fire, and literally, as an incense is burning, it is just exactly that. It's burning. Okay, it's essentially on fire. It's producing the element of fire, and this is why, from a more so elemental scientific perspective, based on the occult sciences, this is why incense is also extremely powerful. And for anyone that has booked a tarot card reading with me and has pulled a wands archetype or a wands card, you then know why the element of fire is so important, or you know what I'm about to say right now. Well, for those of you that don't know, the element of fire is associated with active energy, which represents energy in movement and also represents an initiatory energy. Okay, so when you're burning an incense stick, you on a more so subtle level are initiating a change. You're initiating energy in movement. Okay, based on the element of fire itself, right there. Okay, so what could incense be of great use for? Occult initiation. Okay, self-development. Maybe there's something you're trying to manifest, some sort of low magic, maybe some sort of result in the real world. You lighting an incense can help that energy move where it is that you're trying to have it move, because of that simple connection, that simple energetic connection to the incense stick and the element of fire, active energy, energy and movement, and initiatory energies. Okay. Now, there's also another aspect to fire, and this also goes hand in hand with the evolutionary side of the elements, which is the active energy, initiatory energy, energy and movement. Well, the other aspect of fire is its more so destructive property. Okay, so from a evolutionary perspective, this would be the property that is burning away things, ideas, mindsets, beliefs, habits, thoughts, whatever it is, burning those things away to then create space for you to evolve, because the things that were burnt away weren't serving you. So this is just another part of the element of fire that does come into play. And this is simultaneously why oftentimes when you go through inner transformation, occult initiation, the changes are uncomfortable and they're challenging. It's because oftentimes you're utilizing that aspect of the element of fire to burn away what it is inside of yourself and about yourself that is not serving you. And the only way to get rid of it is to burn it away, okay? To then create space for something new to blossom, so to speak. So that's also embedded within the incense sticks. Now, let's look at it from another perspective, okay? Incense in general create energy. Okay, so this also kind of ties into the element of fire, but when you light an incense stick, similar to if you've ever if you've ever started a fire before, like in a pit, let's say, like you were outside and you had a controlled fire, or if you've ever seen a fire, um, if you pay attention and you just look, send your gaze just a little bit above the flames, you're going to see there's actually energy that is emanating from fire. Okay. It's similar to like you're on the road and it's a very hot day outside and you can just see a long road in front of you. You can see the heat makes almost like an illusionary image. It makes things look like they're vibrating. Things are moving very strangely. Okay, this is what happens when there's heat, and this is also what takes place when there's fire. And the same property is being generated when you are lighting an incense stick, and the way that it's primarily manifesting is through the smoke. Okay, so just the act of lighting an incense stick is actually producing energy. Okay, so when you incorporate incense into any of your occult practices or spiritual practices, you are essentially initiating energy towards your intent behind why you're lighting that incense. Now, sometimes the intent that you have when you go to light an incense, sometimes that intent is unconscious and subconscious to you, which means sometimes you just light an incense to light it and you don't even know why you did. But what is important to know is that whenever you do light an incense, there is power that is being generated that is going to find a pathway to become manifest. So whether you're aware of why you lit the incense or not, that energy will find somewhere to become manifest. This is also why incense are so powerful and so commonly used within the spiritual community and occult field. And by more so advanced occultists, we use incense consciously. We place a conscious intent into our incense sticks because we know we're essentially conjuring power to then direct with our intent into our ritual, into our spell, into whatever it is. Okay, and this also takes place with the incense stick. If this wasn't the case, if this wasn't true, I promise you, people wouldn't use incense sticks. Okay, they wouldn't be as popular as they are in today's time. This is also why, oftentimes when people start lighting incense, sometimes you can start noticing psychic phenomena taking place in your environment. Sometimes you can notice that, you start lighting incense because you want to start embracing your spirituality, things of that nature. And next thing you know, there's things that are happening in your apartment or in your house, in your room. Things are happening that are psychic phenomena, things that you've never seen happen before. Maybe you see like a shadow or something, or maybe you see an image, a visualization of something. Maybe something physically moves. Okay, these things can take place more commonly when you're actively lighting incense because you can think of it, you're building up energy. You are literally building up energy in the environment, and it has to find a pathway to become manifest. So obviously, the best way to utilize an incense stick is to utilize it consciously. And the best way to utilize an incense stick is to consciously pick which sticks you're going to be using based on all of the different energetic archetypal influences that are embedded within the stick. And then when you go to light it, you now know that that incense stick is associated with the element of fire. You know it's going to produce some form of a active energy, some form of energy is about to go in movement, and it's, in its nature, it's an initiatory energy. It can cause a change. And then when you go to light it, you want to direct that. Okay, you want to know, okay, I'm lighting this incense for this reason. Just like when I lit this one, I made the reason, I set the intent of however that energy, whatever pathway that energy is going to find, I want it to find whatever pathway it needs to then have the end result of increasing my overall power on all levels: emotional, spiritual, psychological, physical, mental, and that's it. Okay, and anywhere else that I didn't cover. Okay, that was my intent. You don't need to be too crazy, you don't need to be too calculated or analytical. Just set a general intention and then boom. Okay, and lighting incense creates power. Okay, which is why they're so important and why they date back to ancient times. Because during big initiations, during big rituals that would take place within ancient civilizations or ancient cultures, even in our today's time within occult orders and just occultists in general. If you're an occult practitioner and you use incense, the goal within a ritual, within a big spell or a big ritual that you want to become manifest, is to essentially create as much power as you possibly can to then direct. Okay, so this is why in ancient civilizations they play tons of music. They're banging on the drums, they're creating power, they're creating energetic resonance to subtle levels of the unconscious and subconscious to bring power into the ritual. This is why there's fires that are often created. This is why sacrifice takes place. That's a whole nother story, but this is why animals can be sacrificed. And even with the Aztec culture, they used humans as sacrifices. It creates power. Okay. And the same concept. This is why incense have been lit in ancient times and all the way up into our today's time. Very powerful tools. Okay. So other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I think I covered enough on this subject. Okay. I definitely think I did. I think I shared some value. I think people now are going to have a much more clear perspective on how to use their incense. And remember, I want to actually cover this before I end. When you're lighting an incense, rather than lighting an incense to quote unquote give an offering, right? How many times do you see that in the occult field, in the spiritual community? I'm lighting this incense to give this to, you name the spirit, you name the entity. I'm giving it to them. Okay. Let me inform you, or let me just shed a little bit of light. Let me be Lucifer in this moment and give you some, as I said, awareness on what you're actually doing when you're giving an offering. Okay. And this awareness that I'm about to give you is going to dictate your success in the occult field if you actually process what I'm saying correctly. Okay. When you're giving an offering to an entity, to a spirit, your goal is to not just give it to the entity in the spirit. What you're actually doing is you're giving power to that force that has archetypal significance embedded within the force, the entity, that represents your own unconscious and subconscious mind. So you lighting an incense for an entity is actually you lighting an incense for that part of your unconscious and subconscious mind that is represented as the entity outside of yourself. So if you think you're lighting incense or you're giving offerings to a force that is only outside of yourself and only external from you, then you're cutting yourself off from giving yourself power when you're giving an offering. Okay? Your offerings are actually going to you. They're just going to the parts of you, the aspects of you that you're unaware of as you're giving the offering, most likely. Okay? Now that I've shared this information, maybe you'll be a little bit more aware so that whenever you go to light an incense, your first intent should be to increase your own power or whatever it is that you want to increase or whatever it is that you want to do. Remember, you're improving yourself. The entities exist through you. They exist through your own unconscious and they exist through your own subconscious mind. Yes, I understand. They're not just existing through you. They're not just existing through your unconscious and subconscious mind. I am very well aware that they exist outside of the self as well. But you would be doing yourself a disservice if you think giving offerings to a force as if it's all external from yourself is going to somehow give you value because the force is going to, the entity is going to favor you. You're dead wrong. Okay, you're dead wrong because you're not aware of your own power at that point. You're not aware that you are the mediator on our planet, on Earth, which is what matters if you're listening to this, if you're a human being. You are the mediator for how these entities can even interact on our planet. It has to filtrate through the human unconscious and subconscious on this planet. Okay, maybe in a different planet, Maybe in a different multiverse outside of ours here, things are a little bit different, but this is how it happens here. So when you give an offering to an entity, if that's what you're going to be doing, remember, you're not just giving an offering to an entity outside of yourself. That is true. You definitely are. But that entity that is outside of yourself, that has its own existence, also exists inside of you as well. And it's represented as certain areas and locations within your unconscious and subconscious mind, which, falls along the lines of different attributations that you have, different emotions that you have, psychological states, all different types of things of that nature. I just wanted to wrap the video up here and make that part clear, because I see people, worshiping all these entities, lighting all these incense, making food, and leaving it out for, their ancestors or these entities. And once again, there's nothing wrong with that if you recognize that what you're doing is to increase your own power, because it's a reflection of yourself. It's basically you giving an offering to yourself, to an external representation of that force. If that's what you're doing and you're aware of that reason, or at least if you have that intent, then what you're doing can produce very profound results for you. Because at the end of the day, it's your intent that matters, and that would be your intent, increasing your power. But if you're doing this out of fear, or if you're doing this out of hoping to gain favor of, some external entity or force, I promise you, you're going to be cutting yourself short, and you're going to be wasting a lot of time and energy. There has to be that connection between you, if you're going to be giving offerings to other entities, between you giving the offering to the entity, and as you give an offering to an entity, it's representing your own power. So as you're essentially lighting an incense to offer it to an entity, you are offering it so that that entity can increase your power. That's the main intent. If that's your intent, you will gain value from it. Now, I went into a little bit more depth explaining that you're actually not even giving the offering to the entity, so to speak. You're giving it to yourself. You're just giving it to the aspect of yourself that you're probably not aware of yet, so it appears to you in the form of an external force. Okay? And this is a little bit advanced. Okay, so not everyone's going to understand this. But if you're giving an incense offering to an entity because you're afraid that this entity is going to harm you, or you're afraid of, you lost favor with this entity and now it's going to do something bad to you, you are cutting yourself short. And as I said, you're going to waste a lot of time and energy. And I don't give a shit. Like, if that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. That's fine. I'm not here to change your mind. But for those of you that really want to gain value from what it is that I teach, you heard it here. Okay. And this is, once again, this is more advanced. Okay. This is not what a lot of people are talking about. But at the end of the day, I'm not the only person that understands this concept. So I'll leave that up to you. You have the information. Do what you will with that information. Okay. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up here. Once again, if you want to get your hands on these EMF Universe B incense sticks that are extremely powerful, okay, tried and true, it's halfway done right now. Like, I've been on here for 30 something minutes, I believe, and we are only halfway through the incense stick. Okay. And it's smoking beautifully, and it smells amazing right in this room right now. Like, absolutely amazing. And that's another benefit. They smell amazing. If you want to get your hands on them, look into the fourth link in the YouTube description. Okay. They are going to sell out fast. I'm going to continuously restock and make them as quickly as I can. And as soon as you order your bundle, they come in 50 sticks a bundle. I will be reaching out to you and letting you know when I will ship it out and when you will receive your order. Okay? So that's what I'm going to say. Ladies and gentlemen, also, if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up. Okay? Thumbs up right there. Also, come down and hit the notification bell, because I post videos as often as I can. And with content like this, you definitely don't want to be missing out. So hit the notification bell. Also, come down here and hit the subscribe button, because if you are consuming my content and you're getting value from it and you're not yet subscribed, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Because if you're subscribed, you are further going to link into this content on an energetic level. So if you want to get the most out of it, hit the subscribe button. Okay. Now, I want to say this. You have my full permission to copy and paste the link of this YouTube video. Send it to any family, friends, or social media platforms. You have my full permission to do that because my intent is to spread my content like a wildfire. Okay, that's it. And that's what it's been doing. So feel free to share it to anybody, that, especially if you think they're going to gain value from it. Okay. The next thing I would like to say is come down here and add me on Instagram, JER_477. Extremely easy to type in. See what I do on Instagram. Okay, check me out. And then if you would like to find yourself in a private Facebook community, which has over 350 members, tons of valuable information, and I'm telling you from personal experience, looking into that private community occasionally, every other day, basically, there's a lot of valuable talks and a lot of valuable information that's placed within that private Facebook community. So once again, if you want to take advantage of that and potentially find yourself amongst like-minded individuals as you, then click the little drop down, that takes you into the YouTube description. That little drop down, you can't miss it. Scroll down just a little bit, and you're going to see a post that says private Facebook community. Right below that, there is a link. Click that link, follow where the link takes you, and then you can request to join in the private Facebook group, and I will personally add you in. Okay? So if that's what you're interested in, you know where the link is now. Okay, so now this is the most important link within the entirety of the YouTube description. Click the little drop down. It's the first link. It says My Patreon right next to it. You can't miss it. And obviously, that takes you directly to my Patreon. Okay? Why is this the most important link? Well, on my Patreon, I have tons of exclusive, advanced occult content that is not on my public YouTube channel, which 100% would offer you tons of value if you invest into and if you look into. Okay? It ranges from live streams on the occult to blog posts on the occult to knowledge on the Kabbalistic tree and a whole bunch of other subjects. Videos that are very similar to this one that you're watching right now, just a little bit more advanced. And that's all on the Patreon. Then for tier 3, you gain access to an entire magic training course, which is, I think, absolutely essential for any beginner occultist. I mean, this is a very practical yet very profound way to develop your psychic capabilities. Once again, absolutely great for a beginner, which goes all the way up to tier 4. This is the highest tier of my Patreon. And not only is it the highest tier, this is the most popular tier of my Patreon. Okay. Now that's for many different reasons. The top tier is called the Universe B Vampire Service. Now, this is the only service that I provide for anyone. Okay. It's the only service that I personally do on anybody. Okay. And what I do is on the 29th of every single month that has a 29th is I perform a specific ritual that is designed to transform your energetic structure, which makes it more so Universe B dominant. So I change your energy field from being predominantly Universe A into Universe B. Okay, so basically what this means is you become more receptive to the unknown. You become more receptive in your environment, more receptive to your own unconscious and subconscious mind. And this naturally gives you the ability to start pulling in, like a magnet, energy from dark energy and chaos in your environment. Okay, so as you do this, over time, you start to integrate that energy that you're pulling in and then turn it into your own power. The longer you've been a Universe B vampire, the longer you've been, or the longer that you've had the service, the more powerful you become. The more powerful you become, the more you can control your immediate reality or do what you want with that. The more evolutionary power you have as well. Okay. And yeah, and this is all done through the top tier 4 service of the Patreon. And there are tons of members that have the service, and there are tons of people that are getting results from it. And just in general, there's about 170 members that are a part of the Patreon, and it is continuously growing. I mean, it is a powerful Patreon, and it's almost at this point like a secondary YouTube channel. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm going to leave it there. Once again, the first link in the YouTube description is where you can join the Patreon. Check it out if you're interested. Okay. With that being said, I want to give a special shout out to all of the Patreon members. Okay. All of you for taking your knowledge, practices, and your studies to that other side. Huge shout out to all of you. Okay. Now, this is the second link in the YouTube description. Second link down. You can't miss it. Okay. At the second link, this is where you can book your own tarot card reading with me. Now, this is a very unique reading because what I can do is I can literally pinpoint exactly where you are on the Kabbalistic tree. Okay. The only reason I can do this is because I'm a professional occultist, and this is what separates me from a lot of other tarot card readers. I can literally pinpoint where you are in the tree, tell you what you're experiencing, going through, and feeling in the present moment, and then tell you what to expect moving into your near future and your long-term future based on your placement on that Kabbalistic tree. Okay, I've done at this point well over 350 readings. I get tons of valuable feedback. If this is something you want to take advantage of, second link below. I'll leave it there. And then for the third link in the YouTube description, click the little drop down, third link below. Can't miss it once again. I mean, come on. Third link below. This is where you can become a YouTube member. Okay. As you become a YouTube member, you gain access to a bunch of benefits, a bunch of nice things. But most importantly, you have access to what I call the Psychic Warfare Emoji Program. I've designed my own personal emojis that can be used in a certain configuration for all of the YouTube members. You gain access to the emojis, and you use them in a certain configuration, and what they can do is actually cause psychic damage to a target. Okay, this is literally the most simple form, the simple way to use psychic warfare and to use black magic through this emoji system. So I'm going to leave that there. There are tons of people that are taking advantage of it as we speak. Like literally, I'm going to be getting some notifications on my phone pretty soon because people are using it. And it really does work. Okay. Sometimes it works quicker than others, but you just got to take your time. And it really does work because it taps into real occult principles and sciences. Okay. And yeah, that's where I'll leave it. If you want to take advantage of the YouTube membership and use Psychic Warfare in its most simple form, check out the third link below. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and then, yeah, once again, just a quick reminder. If you want to get your hands on some of these EMF Universe B incense sticks, fourth link below. Okay, check out the fourth link below. You can't miss it. Okay, there we go. Here, I am going to leave it. I hope all of you that are tuned in till this point have a absolutely wonderful rest of the day or night, wherever you are. And I will see you on the next video. Peace.